Hi, boys and girls. So today we are going to do a video that focuses on 13-6, which is comparing fractions using a number line. This is going to be pretty easy for us because we have already had a lot of experience with using a number line to determine if one fraction is greater than, less than, or equal to another. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, I'm going to start you off with a solve and share question just to get your brain thinking about how we would solve this. Tanya, Riaz, and Ryan each used a bag of flour to make modeling clay. The bags were labeled 3/4 of a pound, 1/4 of a pound, and 2/4 of a pound. Show these fractions on a number line. How can you use the number line to compare two of these fractions? So before we go any further, what I would point out or what I would focus on is the fact that every one of these fractions has the same denominator. That means I only need to make one fraction to compare them. So every one of these has a denominator of 4. That means my number line has to be broken up into 4 spaces. So a common mistake that children make is they accidentally count the tick marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that doesn't equal 4. We want to count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I said you only need to make one number line, but if you feel like you need to make one for each of these, go for it. So then what I would do is I would then label my number line. This is for 4th. This is for 2/4. And the last one is 3/4. And if you would like to, you can even label the whole. So we should be able to figure out that 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, my whole is going to be 4/4. So we've done the hard work. We have taken the fractions and placed them on the number line. Now what we have to do, and I'm going to switch colors here, is use the number line to compare two of these fractions. So I think I want to compare a 4th to 3/4. So I want you to notice something. I'm going to start at the 0 and I'm going to shade in from 0 to 1/4. So that's the distance from the starting of the number line to 1/4. I'm going to then switch colors and I'm going to just like come above it a little bit and I'm going to shade from 0 to 3/4. And I can obviously see, let me go back and fix that really quick. Sorry, boys and girls. I can see that 3/4 is greater than 1/4. Or another way to write that is you could have said 1/4 is less than 3/4. Okay, so now that we have done an example together and I've shown you how we are going to set up our number line and how we are going to use this, we can go ahead and get started. So here we go. We're going to read this aloud to you, and I'm not going to show you the screen yet, what's underneath this screen, because I want to see what your thoughts were. I'm going to give you some time to really think. So we're really talking about the bags again, just like we were on the last problem, the bags of flour. So if the bags were labeled 4/8 of a pound, 3/8 of a pound, and 6/8 of a pound, how could a number line help you solve this problem? So I'm going to give you some time to think about that. Okay, so you should have said the number line could help us because it would help us determine which one is bigger, which one is smaller. So if I came down here, there I have a number line that is broken up into 8 equal parts because the denominators are all the same again. This one's making it very easy on us. And I can go ahead and label them. So 4/8 would be 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. Okay, there's my 4/8 mark. And then I'm going to move to 3/8. Well, that's right behind it. And then my 6/8 would be right here. So because I used the number line, I placed the fractions on there, I could definitely see that this is the smallest, this is in the middle, and then this is the largest. And then I could use that information to create those comparison statements using greater than or less than. Okay, so let's keep going. All right, so here's another example. So I have already filled out the number lines for you. The top one is broken up into fourths as shown by the denominator being 4 and shown because of the equal parts. The bottom number line is broken up into thirds because of the denominator 3 that is being used. So I want you to take some time to think about what symbol would go here. So remember, our choices of symbols are greater than, less than, or equal to. So I'm going to give you some time to look at this. I'll give you about 15 seconds. Okay, so if you went ahead and did this, you could have even took your finger if you wanted to and placed on here, like there's 2/4, there's 2/3. You could have even touched that if you needed to and looked at that distance from 0 to 2/4, 0 to 2/3, and that would have helped you realize, well, that is less distance than this. So you should have put the less than sign. 2/4 is less than 2/3. Let's keep on going. All right, here is another one. So I'm not going to show you what's underneath of there yet, but this one, we are changing things up. If you notice, the denominators are now different. They are different. We have 3/6 and 3/4. So I strongly encourage you to draw two different number lines, one that is broken up into sixths, one that is broken up into fourths. However, you might not need to do that because just yesterday you did 13-5, which was about benchmark fractions, using your understanding of 0, a half, and a whole. So some of you might not need to even show your work. So let's try both ways. Go ahead and put an answer in here without using a number line. Let's see how you do. Remember, our symbols are greater than, less than, or equal to. Go ahead and give it a try. Okay, so everybody think about what would have gone in here. Now let's move this down. So there I have placed those awesome number lines to help you. 3/6, I'm going to put here. There's my distance from 0 to 3/6. Sorry if it's not perfectly straight. Then I have 3/4. I'm going to put here. There is my distance from 0, very crooked, to 3/4. So if you were right from the beginning that 3/6 is less than 3/4, amazing. And if you needed these number lines too, that's okay as well. So when you were looking at this, if you got it right from the beginning, you probably thought to yourself, well, 3/4 is very close to a whole. I know 3/6 is only halfway to the whole. So that meant that that one was bigger. So let's do one more and then we are done for this lesson. Here we go. This is question number 14. Molly's dad is grilling burgers. Yum. He uses a 1/4 pound, you could say, or 1/4 of a pound of beef in each burger for Molly and her mother. He uses a 1/3 of a pound of beef to make a burger for himself. Complete number lines to show these fractions. So I'm going to take the top fraction and break it up into fourths. I'm going to take the bottom fraction in a second and we'll break it up into a different one. So let's just do one at a time. Let's break this one up into fourths. So remember, you are having to break this up into 4 equal places or parts, excuse me. We're not focusing on the tick marks, the amount of tick marks. We're focusing on the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 1/4. I'm going to switch colors now, and now I'm going to break up the second number line into thirds. And I find it's very helpful If you label the number lines with the fraction, that just helps you stay organized, but that's just my preference. Okay, so let me shade from 0 to 1/3, and let me come back and go switch my color again, 0 to 1/4. So the first part of this is done, but then we need to come over to part B. Use the number lines to compare the fractions. Then write a comparison statement using less than, greater than, or equal to. Explain how you use the number line. So when I'm over here, you could write 1/4 is less than 1/3. Not by much, though. That was very close. Or the other way you could have said it was 1/3 is greater than 1/4. And then it wants you to explain how you use the number lines. And so that is where over in this space here, I'm going to draw a line to separate it. You could have written something down, such as I looked at the number lines and noticed 1/3 was a longer distance from 0 to 1/3 than it was from 0 to 1/4. As long as you're using the number line to reference your answer, then you should be good for that one. All right, boys and girls, this should not be difficult for you. I want you to attack that page about using the number lines. And if you have any questions, you can just come back to these pages to help you. All right, take care.